I'm going to pull back and talk for a moment about a subject that we brought up yesterday in the aftermath of the manifesto being, dadgummit, I did it again. I'm trying to stop calling it that. This was a journal. This was not, by any definition, a manifesto, but the Covenant School shooter. Michael Patrick Leahy, who made an appearance yesterday afternoon on The Drive with Brian Wilson, and we'll have Michael Patrick on very soon to kind of talk about the fallout behind his decision on the Tennessee Star website to release the full journal that he had access to some months ago. He legally, and he stresses this, legally obtained the access of that journal. He recorded the journal by taking photos of each page of it. He does not have the actual journal in his hands, but he has we have the photos. We downloaded the journal, and I looked at it not only yesterday, but also looked over it last night. And I can tell you there really are there's no motivation in the journal that has been presented by the Tennessee Star, except to say that the person writing it, the woman writing it, was insane. There was evil, and there was a tremendous amount of evidence of mental instability. And a lot of that mental instability was borne out in writings about a belief that she was born in the wrong body, that she should have had a penis, that she should have been a boy, that there was nothing to be done about that. And that created this anxiety and ultimately a desire to die, which sadly led to a desire to kill. And all of that manifested itself on March 27th when the shooter went to Covenant School, where she attended school, and committed to mass slaughter, killing 3 9-year-olds and 3 staff members, as we well know. It was a series of events that might have been avoided had someone had the foresight to recognize that the person in front of them, and I'm talking about medical professionals, psychologists, psychiatrists. Over the years, apparently, Audrey Hale sat down in front of many psychologists, many psychiatrists. In totality, she had seen therapists for over 20 years, and she was only, I think, 28 years old when she died, when she was killed by the Metro Nashville Police Department after killing 6 herself. That said, there were clues. I don't want to create a dynamic by which we judge people based on hindsight, because with hindsight, it's easy. However, it seems that there were many, many clues available to those medical professionals to give them the ability to do something to involuntarily incarcerate this individual, to get her a full-throated medical evaluation. All that to say, it was the heart and the mind of the individual that led to the deaths of those 6 at the Covenant School. I don't know. None of us sitting in Nashville, Tennessee, are aware of the motivations behind. We don't know the suspect behind those that were killed in Georgia and Winder, except to say that that person is in custody, we're told by authorities, and at very least, they have killed 4. More details to come. However, none of that will change the narrative on the left. The narrative on the left, no matter the circumstances, no matter the situation, no matter the details, is always the same. Take the guns from law-abiding citizens, and they tell you that this will result in a reduction in criminal activity around the country. And I don't believe it. The only way that you could possibly accomplish the goal that you claim to want to accomplish would be to reclaim all of the guns available in the United States of America. Bill, would you venture a guess as to how many guns there are in this country?
Well, I don't really need to, because I've kind of educated myself on it, but there's a reasonable expectation of there being between 350 million and 500 million, depending on the sources that you're using.
Yeah, the figure that I typically see is north of 400 million guns in the United States of America. Short guns, long guns, handguns, and rifles, shotguns. Over 400 million. What you will be hearing from the left is this Pollyanna belief and expect it to come within minutes, if not already, within hours certainly. Kamala Harris will be on the stump, and she will have a lot to say about gun ownership and limiting your ability to own, quote-unquote, assault weapons. They will call them assault weapons. They will call them weapons of war. Tim Walz is well on record lying about his record in the Minnesota National Guard, claiming that these are the type of guns I carried into battle. He never carried any gun into battle because he was never in battle. That does not diminish his service. At the same time, it does say something about his character that he would be willing to lie about it. That said, he's on record. She picked the right candidate for her because they're both gun grabbers, and they believe that gun confiscation is necessary in the United States.
Obviously, not every single person in the country owns a gun, but when we're talking about these kind of numbers, we're looking at an average of about 1.3 to 2 guns per person in this country.
I just looked it up, and I'm seeing on average about 450 million now. So that would be about 1.5 per person in the United States of America. I'm well above average. Thank you very much. In a lot of things, including gun ownership. So you'll see these things. They try to, I was not around during the days of the great Phil Valentine, but my good friend Brink Fiddler, who comes on with regularity, who did know Phil quite well, quotes Phil when he says, emotion brings you to a problem, and logic and reason and rational thought gets you out of it. And emotion will bring Democrats to the table on this issue, and they will make an emotional appeal to the American people that we somehow ought to give up our right to gun ownership, despite the fact that we are law-abiding citizens, because of the actions of criminals. Well, by the same standard, I would suggest that we should limit the ability of law-abiding citizens to go out and drink alcohol for fear. I mean, is there really... Let's make the comparison. 615-737-9986, by the way, if you want to get in on this conversation. So, is there anything good about the consumption of alcohol? I mean, in other words, can we make a case that alcohol provides any good? I understand that we get a buzz, and I understand that we enjoy it. I'm saying, is there any positive in society for alcohol?
Not to go jumping around on you, but the same people that tell you that we can go and confiscate 450 million weapons and remove them from the street are the same people that telling you that we can't deport 10 million people.
Right, because that's too much of a logistical challenge. I mean, and back to the original thought before I get to the alcohol analogy, you're right, Bell. The premise behind what they argue is that if we were to eliminate guns in society, you would eliminate the ability for people to go on mass shooting sprees. We see right before us in other societies, in Germany, in the United Kingdom, and in Australia, how a lack of an ability to access a gun does not prevent mass deaths or mass killings. So the only argument that they can possibly make, even if we got to that point in American society, would be, well, we would limit the ability. And by the way, did you see the story overseas? I think it was either UK or Germany, where a German official was talking about limiting the ability for people to have access to long knives.
Oh, that's already a reality in Britain. They've gone from common sense gun control to common sense knife control.
Because there are too many people committing knife attacks now, because it's the knife.
If you're found in possession of a bladed weapon of certain parameters, that's an arrestable offense.
Right.
In Great Britain.
So, I mean, one would think at some point they would see, these people would see the own fallacy of their logic, but they don't see it. They're blind to it. So not only would it take wholesale confiscation of your weapons, where people are literally knocking on your door and demanding to see your guns, and then taking said same in order for their dream to become a reality on the political left. not only would it take that, which would be an impossibility in the United States of America, I might add, it would also take, or it wouldn't even work, even if they were able to do it. It wouldn't work. Right? I mean, because those with evil intent in their hearts would use other methods by which to kill, be it automobile, knife, homemade bomb or explosive, or black market gun, for that matter. Now, the gun analogy leads to the alcohol analogy. Does any good come from alcohol? Well, I mean, you could argue that, I enjoy it, I get a buzz from it. Okay, fine, sure. But some people use alcohol in bad ways. Some people drink large amounts of alcohol and beat their spouses or get into domestic altercations. Other people drink large amounts of alcohol and get behind the wheel of a car and drive an automobile impaired. And eventually it leads to a DUI, ruined lives, ruined families. Or it could lead to the death of another person due to that individual being impaired and having an accident and killing another person on our city streets. Happens all the time. So by the logic of the left, why would we not eliminate the consumption of alcohol in restaurants because of the bad actors that cannot handle their liquor or choose to drink large amounts of alcohol, then get behind the wheel of a car? Tell me how that's not the same. Now, it's different in the sense that there is a written right within the Constitution of the United States of America that we have the ability to keep and bear arms as the ultimate protection against bad or evildoers or a tyrannical government. We have that ability as written down in the Second Amendment. But we also have life and liberty and the pursuit of happiness, and I would suggest within that is embedded our ability to consume alcohol. But tell me how it's different. Oh, we had a constitutional ban on the use of alcohol. How did that work? You see, we've tried it with alcohol, and this completes the analogy. How did that work? Did it get better or worse when we banned the consumption of alcohol in the United States of America? I think we know the answer.